it's the lymphatic system is a big part of keeping us healthy, boosting your immune system, but also it's highly correlated with your breast health. And guess what? This month, October, is the month of the so-called breast cancer awareness. And in full honesty, I really dislike that title. I dislike that whole concept. And it's not because, I want to be in denial about it, that breast cancer is a problem. Obviously, it is one of the top 3 reasons what women are passing away from. In fact, in the past 2 years, some of my closest girlfriends, who are the most amazing human beings, all died from breast cancer. And so it's obviously a serious condition. And I forgot to put my microphone on. Hey, by the way, you guys, I am transmitting on Facebook, YouTube, as well as I'm doing it on Instagram. So sometimes you might be seeing me make eye contact with you here and there. So don't be surprised. So the reason why I don't like the whole breast cancer awareness concept as a month to celebrate, because it becomes more of a celebration of sending women out for mammograms. And I'm not opposed to mammograms. I just don't think mammogram is a preventative measure. A mammogram, when you get a mammogram done, it's typically when something is already suspicious, something is already going on. As a preventative, it doesn't show you the anatomy. It just shows you that there is something already happening in the breast. But guess what? Before breast cancer happens, it's years and years and years of inflammation, DNA damage that's happening to the breast tissue before it manifests as breast cancer. So in my opinion, in my protocol, in my whole approach is to do a lot more preventative measures about your breast health and doing what you can at early stages. And that's part of the reason why I keep talking about estrogen dominance, is because estrogen dominance is the leading cause of breast cancer. 80% of breast cancers in developed countries, including the United States, are estrogen receptor positive. Progesterone receptor positive breast cancers are also the receptors for progesterone get oversensitive and upregulated because of estrogen. So estrogen really is at the center piece here. And, estrogen dominance doesn't just happen overnight. You don't wake up with breast cancer. You don't wake up with estrogen dominance out of nowhere. It's typically months and years of doing things the incorrect way. And, meaning there is your liver is not supported properly, breaking down those estrogens very well. Your skincare stuff is not the best, right? And the list just goes on and on. Plus, you might have some genetic predispositions, the way I do, to be highly estrogenic. So Lynette is saying here, thank you for doing this. I'm a cancer survivor. I've had it come back several times. I have lymphedema in my left arm. Yeah, so really the whole, we talk about breast cancer awareness. It's not like we're not aware it's a problem, right? I think we've read enough information, and it's very fear-based and fear-feeding, because it is, and if you look at a lot of the breast cancer official institutions, they will tell you that the reasons and causes of breast cancer are unknown. And I highly, again, disagree with that, because there is also a ton of literature, including on PubMed, that will show us that there is a ton of research that shows us what causes breast cancer and what can we do to prevent it. And obviously, a big part of my life is dedicated to this work because I have a lot of family history of breast cancers, uterine cancers, ovarian cancers. They're all estrogenic cancers. There's like a saying / joke in my family that women about 50 don't have a uterus in my family anymore. I'm 48 today, and I plan to hold on to my uterus for for as long as I live. So I don't think we need more awareness about breast cancer. What we need really is awareness on prevention of breast cancer. And no one is talking in the mass media about that, because truthfully, there is not enough money in that. There's a lot more money. Mammograms are a multi-billion-dollar industry. And so that's what we do to women. So really, I wanna just really, my team and I have dedicated the whole month of October to be talking about preventative measures for breast cancer. So we've been talking about breast health this whole time. I hope you're on my mailing list. Occasionally we send out some promotional emails, but most of the time, 80% of our content is educational. It's got recipes, articles, latest research, interviews with different experts, announcements of these sort of live calls. So I highly encourage for you to join us on our mailing list. If you haven't already, just go to hormonesbalance.com and there's going to be a banner on top. You can join there. So one of the things we've been dedicating a lot of resources this month to breast health. And today I want to talk about the lymphatic system of your breast health, because it really is a highly lymphatized, if you will, part of your body. Many women know that if you have, for example, problems with the lymphatic system under your arms, there's a lot of lymph nodes in here. And like, for example, women who have breast cancer, if it spreads too much, then these lymph nodes will need to be removed, right? So look, I'm not saying that supporting your lymphatic system, and doing the things that we're going to be talking about, the 5 different things you can do to support your lymphatic system, is going to prevent you from having breast cancer or reverse breast cancer. I'm not saying that. It's just one of the things in the toolbox. If you want to have more comprehensive view of what to do, how to address estrogen dominance, how to eat for it, what are some of the supplements that are going to help you break down those estrogens correctly, then get my book, Overcoming Estrogen Dominance. By the way, this is the old cover. Many of you have seen this before. We've just come up with a new reprint. Sorry, Instagram is upside down, but it says Overcoming Estrogen Dominance. It's got a new cover. The rest of the book is pretty much the same. We've just incorporated a few more images and stuff like that, page numbers, and otherwise the content is 99% same. So you're not losing out on anything. You don't need to go and buy another one. So there is a whole chapter here that I have on breast health itself. And one of the things I'm going to be showing you later today is how do you move your lymphatic system in your breast. I'm going to stand up and actually show you how to do that. But we also have that in the book. So on page 173, let me just get to this one page. Anyway, we'll get to this in a second. On page 173, there is a whole chapter on breast health. So I hope I've convinced you that, taking a lot of different things, doing a lot of things for your breast is going to be, I think your best insurance policy, right? As compared to waiting for a mammogram to be done. Many people, I'll just mention one more thing before we talk about the lymphatic system, is that I have found that thermography is a way better preventative measure, because it shows you the physiological changes in the body, meaning it shows you inflammation, it shows you the changes in the tissue way before it becomes breast cancer. And so I did an interview with a fabulous doctor, Dr. Ryan, and we turned it into a very comprehensive article. So Kamalani, if we can post that link on our different media to the Thermogram article. And please remember, so that nobody gets angry here with me, this is not a choice between mammogram and thermogram, okay? They have a completely different role. If I had a lump on my breast, I would definitely go and get a mammogram. As a preventative, just a couple of weeks ago, I went to got a thermogram, first time in my life, and I will be updating our article on the thermogram just to show you mine. So it's basically showing my boobs to the whole of internet, but that's okay. And it's looking good. It's looking clean. And I was really pleased. And I didn't just do my breast. I also did my thyroid. I did my whole head and my abdomen. So that was really awesome to do that, just to know that I'm in a really good place and my inflammation is low. And it's just kind of not surprising, because I teach this stuff and I actually do this stuff. So okay, so let's talk about the lymphatic system. What's the big deal about it, right? And so I think many of you have heard of the lymphatic system. It's good for you. It's good for you to move the lymphatic system. You might not know yet how to do it. But I want to just, first of all, talk about the importance of the lymphatic system. What's the big deal about it? So think of the lymphatic system like the highway that basically evacuates trash out of your body. Really, that's what it is. So you have different lymph nodes around your body. So, for example, your tonsils would be will be one of the big nodes. You have other nodes under your arms. You have nodes near your somewhere near your like your ovaries, around there, right? So those are some of the places that will be there will be a lot of the congregation happen. Those are like the meeting points, if you will. But other than that, you have a lymphatic system that's all around the body. And if you see photos of it, which we have in the article that Kamalani will share, is on how to move the lymphatic system, you will see there is like these highways all along here. And the lymphatic, what flows through all of that is the lymphatic liquids. And these liquids carry a lot of your immune system. So your T cells and B cells go flowing through that. And what they do is you also have the macrophages going through it. So those are the ones that will be chomping down on a lot of the debris as it comes along. So moving your lymphatic system is going to help with a few things. One is going to help you with your immune system. That's a big one. And traditionally, if you think about it, interestingly, like for example, in Ayurveda, doing massages and doing lymphatic movement through massages, it has been a big part of the Ayurvedic protocol. And so not surprisingly, it's to boost your immune system. Another piece that was I think really interesting for you guys to know is when I was working on the article on the lymphatic system, I have found that people who, you know how kids have their tonsils removed, like if you have a tonsil infection, the first thing is like just remove it, right? And let's just get rid of them. You can easily live without it. Well, it turns out that research shows, and we have cited that research, including from JAMA, is that people who have lost their tonsils have a lot weaker immune system. One of the ways it manifests is that your predisposition towards having things like allergies is a lot higher. Another research shows that people who have their tonsils removed also have a higher frequency of having autoimmune disease, are more prone to having autoimmune diseases, including things like Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, rheumatoid arthritis. Now, is it a prerequisite? No, because I never had my tonsils removed and I still had Hashimoto's, right? So it's not a given. However, it just makes you more predispositioned, which is really interesting, right? Because I think it's the same thing like we have with removing the pancreas, right? Removing the gallbladder very liberally. And there are significant consequences on gallbladder removal in women too, including one that leads to estrogen dominance a lot of the time. Why? Because the bile not only emulsifies fats, but it also binds up what's called the dirty estrogens. And so a lot of times when I do talk about, I do talks about gallbladder removal and how I'm opposed to removing gallbladder unless it's absolutely necessary. And there is a lot of things you can do to actually reverse gallbladder issues. I have a lot of respect for traditional Chinese medicine in that space. And removal of gallbladder will basically not release bowels as frequently, and the bowel binds up your. So I said that, and then so what I was going to say is that gallbladder. A lot of women who have their gallbladder removed 6 to 8 months later find that they are suddenly having a lot of hormonal problems, and especially estrogen dominance. Not infrequently, so fairly frequently, we get comments on lives like this, what I'm doing today, and is when women start saying, after my gallbladder removal, I suddenly started having really tender breasts. My periods became awful. I couldn't get pregnant, and list goes on and on. So it's the same thing, I feel like, with the tonsils, is that there's a lot of times consequences to medical decisions, oftentimes as patients we are not aware of. And I suspect that majority of doctors are not even aware of that. And so it is, it is a real shame. But I think, part of the beauty of the internet and is for you to get educated on this kind of stuff and be your own advocate. So back to the lymphatic system, back to breast health. Like I said, if you had your tonsils removed, something to just be aware of. You might need to support your system a little bit better, and that's even more relevant. What I'm going to talk about, if it's even more relevant to doing this kind of work. So the other thing about the lymphatic system is, let me just pull up my my notes. I accidentally closed them. I'm curious here, who had their tonsils removed, and do you feel like you are more prone to allergies compared to other people? I'm curious about what you guys, if you're finding a connection between those two. So the other thing that the lymphatic system really helps you with is absorption of nutrients, and especially fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. They enter the bloodstream and they get carried around through the lymphatic system to the different parts of the body, which is really interesting. Many of you might be experiencing a lot of water retention, which, by the way, water retention is a lot of the time also caused by estrogen dominance, but the other side of it is the stagnation that happens in the lymphatic system. Okay, so a lot of really good reasons to do it, and quite honestly, it just makes you feel pretty fabulous when you do. Let me just take a quick sip. So some of you are saying tonsils out, no allergies. Some of you are saying tonsils out, allergies. So it could be that when you had your tonsils removed, you just live a clean lifestyle and you are not prone to allergies. Your immune system is stronger, and that's very likely why you don't have that reaction. So that's really awesome. So the first thing I want to talk about is that's phenomenal for moving your lymphatic system is dry brushing. Dry brushing is basically, I forgot to bring my brush out, but let's just imagine that this is a brush, okay? And what you do is so dry brushing means that your body's dry. You haven't taken a shower yet. I tend to do it first thing in the morning when I multitask, when I do oil pulling, right? So I typically do oil pulling with sesame oil and nigella oil. That's my favorite, with a bit of thyme in it. And I'll be swirling it around, right, before I take a shower. My heater's on the other side of the house is my bathroom. And so it takes a while for the warm water to hit my bathroom. So I use this time, that like 3 to 4 minutes, to start with oil pulling. It's not going to help your lymphatic system, but it's going to help your your oral microbiome, and just give you so many other benefits of just teeth, dental health, including if you have receding gums, then this is wonderful. And then the other thing I do is I take a brush and I start brushing. So the way you want to start brushing, actually, let me get up so I can do a little demo and make sure that you folks can see me. So the way you do dry brushing is you can start off with your hands and you always go towards your heart. So your heart is here, right? And you just start doing this. You can lift it up and then doing it that way, right? So everything is always going towards your heart. You gently then do, you can do your neck. So again, it's always going to your heart. Then you continue on with, I typically do 5 times, and I use quite a gentle brush. You don't have to use those. The whole idea is not to make you hurt yourself, and it's you're not going to be wanting to hurt and be like super red, right? But feel like something is moving, and you're going to find this very, very stimulating, very energizing by the end of the day. Who here is doing dry brushing, and how does it make you feel? Right? And then the other part that I find super helpful is to do it under my arm, right here, this area here. So again, you see I'm covering the lymphatic part here, which is another big node is under your arm, right? So doing that up here too, then you do the other side. Your abdomen, you do that up as well. On your front here, you do that this way, right? So again, towards your heart. It's best to get a brush with a handle, so that way you can do your back. Your back doesn't have to be, it's hard to determine what is towards your heart. So you basically go up and down, up and down. You do the same thing with your legs, where you can start off with your calves, and then making it, and the inside, especially the insides of your thighs, are going to be really important for dry brushing, less so than the thighs, the outer parts. You do that on your buttocks. It makes you, I think, feel really good as well. And literally within 3 minutes, you could be done. In the article that we are posting, there is a video of me doing that in my bikini, so you can see that. Don't wear a bikini. You're in a bathroom, just strip naked. That's gonna be already pretty awesome. You find that so rejuvenating, so reviving. For those of you who's doing here, I do it on my arms, very helpful with my clear thinking. There you go. That's awesome. Somebody saying haven't done it in a while, plus my brush is too hard. Yeah, so get a softer brush. And one of the things that people feel is that once you get used to the brushing, then your skin becomes less sensitive, and then you can switch to a harder brush too. Let's see what else. I love the feeling afterwards. My body feels awake. Absolutely, right? Is that info in your book? On dry brushing, yes, it is. And I'm going to be also showing you how to do lymphatic massage on your breast in just a second. What kind of brush? You want to use a brush that's made from natural material. So there's different types of brushes. You can buy a ton of them, different ones on Amazon. I like the one that's using, that's coming from like animal, hair. I personally don't like using synthetics and plastic. So that's just my choice. Okay, so that's for dry brushing. Simple things you can do, right? Another thing that is really wonderful to incorporate to your day is a lymphatic tea. And add specific herbs that can really help you move the lymphs. Who here wants to guess what is especially if you're trained in herbalism, there is a herb that is known to be an amazing lymphatic mover. And so who wants to guess what is that herb called? And you can give me the English, the common name, and if you know the Latin name, even better. So let's see how many people here know this. And I will give you the recipe in just a second. So I will circle back. Dandelion, no, dandelion is great, but no, it's not dandelion. It's not the most common one, although it is a weed and it grows actually in a lot of places. One hint I'm going to give you is that it's slightly sticky and it kind of grows in other plants. And it's not sticky, but it's like it sticks onto things. And then when you pull it off, fenugreek, no. Burdock, no. Nettle, close. But nettles, we also use it in our lymphatic tea, and I will give you that in a second. Red root, neem, no. Oregano, no. Classic holy basil, no. Red clover, no. You guys are good. There's a lot of guessing going on. No, I love milk thistle for liver health. Absolutely. Lemongrass, no. It's actually a Western. So many of them you are mentioning herbs that are not native to America. And this one is a native. St. John's, no. It's not. All right, so I'll just give it to you. It's cleavers. Gallium is the Latin name. Slippery elm, no. Okay, so yeah, it's cleavers. Who has heard of cleavers? And it's a wonderful gallium. So it's a classical herb that is known for really creating a lot of movement in the lymphatic system, really stimulating it. So that's the reason why in our lymph tea, which is on the article that Kamalani has posted, and if you guys are watching on Instagram, then just go over to hormonesbalance.com and look for lymphatic system, and this article will pop out. So there's a tea recipe in there. It's called the lymph tea recipe, and it uses cleavers, calendula, red clover, dandelion. So many of you said that. Nettles is an option. Lemon peel is an option, and you basically steep that in boiling water, and all the amounts are right there. So just a wonderful one for moving your lymphatic system. One way that you know your lymphatic system is, how do you spell it? Cleaver. So like something cleaves, C-L-E-A-V-E-R, cleaver with an S, cleavers. If you Google that right now and you see it, you probably have seen it as a weed growing in your yard, possibly. So don't throw it away. Like a lot of weeds are just amazing, and they shouldn't be thrown away. They can actually be, yes, it is. Cindy is the correct spelling. Yeah. So one of the ways that you know you have a stagnated lymphatic system is you getting sick a lot. Your lymphs are swollen. Like, for example, taking off a ring is really difficult. You are having a lot of pain around your tonsils. Things feel sensitive. You might be feeling sensitive under your arms here. Those are some of the symptoms of a stagnated lymphatic system, if you will. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is the lymphatic breast massage that I promised you to show you. So again, it's gonna be in that article. And also, if you're, let's say, driving and you're just listening to this and you can't really watch me do this, we have the chart on page 177 in the book on how to do the massage, and it shows you all the arrows. But I'm gonna show this to you in just a second. So this lymphatic massage, I learned about it from Dr. Rind, the one who I did a call on for Thermography. And basically, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you how to move the lymphatic system. However, a few things to consider. The best thing to do it is when you are wet or using a cream. And I'll tell you one of my favorite creams. Actually, you can start guessing now. What is the herb that has got incredible efficacy for the lymphatic system in the breast? It is scientifically underappreciated, but it's been used traditionally in a lot of folklore medicine, wise women medicine for generations. And we're actually working on a product right now that is going to contain that herb. It's a root. It's a type of a root. Well, it's not a type of root. It is a root. so who wants to guess? By the way, Teresa is asking castor oil. Yes, you can use castor oil. One of our favorites. In fact, we just sent out an email about castor oil for your breast. That's another wonderful way of also causing anti-inflammatory effect. So let me show you how the breast massage is being done. So you're doing that again in the shower, or you're doing this while you're out of the shower and you're having some really nice cream or oil that you might want to be using. What you want to do is, first of all, the pressure you're putting on your breast, it's not like squeezing it. And the way Dr. Ryan describes it is doing it in a way that, imagine you had honey in your breast and you're trying to move that honey out through some kind of a passage. So, that way, you're going to put some pressure on it, but you're not going to be like squeezing like that and be really hard on your breast, because that's going to actually cause the opposite effect, right? You're going to create even more inflammation on your breast. So what you want to do is you want to start off from the bottom of the breast, and it goes up towards your nipple. So this is like the beginning part is from up here. The important part is when you lift up your arm, is getting your breast and then moving all the junk, all the lymph nodes, all the liquid up to your armpit. And so doing it this way, then from your nipple again, you go up to your lymph. So you're basically like evacuating it towards your armpit. And you do the same thing. You do that second time around, and then you do it on the other breast. Super quick. It's up to you whether you want to do it in a shower or whether you want to do it in using an oil. I personally love using oils, especially castor oil is my favorite. So nobody has guessed what that root is. And the answer is it's poke root, P-O-K-E. Some of you who might be in the South, poke as being a terrible weed, and that can be quite poisonous unless you boil the leaves and then use it in a salad. Poke salad is pretty common in the South. You may know of that. However, that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about poke root. So specifically is the root that has historically been used for moving the lymphatic system in the breast. Has got wonderful efficacy towards women who have issues with a lot of lumpy breasts, who have a lot of stagnation in the breast, who's got a lot of fibrocystic breasts, who have a lot of painful. Is it the same as kudzu? No, it's not. Completely different leaf or plant, I should say. Kudzu is also another. You're right, Cindy. That kudzu is a huge. Isn't it kudzu known as the plant that ate the South? Although it's highly medicinal. We actually have some recipes for kudzu root in my cookbooks for making pudding. And kudzu is a wonderful aid for helping you fall asleep. So we have a recipe for you in one of my cookbooks on using kudzu root together with cherries, dark cherries, and that's another element that's going to help you fall asleep. So where do you get poke? So you can get poke root online, and then you will have to infuse it into an oil. And otherwise, there are some small batch probably makers who make that, and so you can look it up online. We're going to be releasing our product sometime next year, and it's going to be containing that root as well. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth thing that you can do on moving your lymphatic system, and that is rebounding. So that's one of my favorite things to do. I didn't pull my rebounder here because it's out in the balcony. I thought it's just kind of hard to be rebounding on this while doing this video. But basically, I'm sure many of you have seen a rebounder, or whether it's a trampoline. The whole idea is that any form of movement is going to move your lymphatic system. So let's actually do this together. I'm going to take my microphone off. Why don't we just do this together? And especially if you can, if this is convenient for you, then just get up for a second. I'm going to push my chair away. Just get up for a second and just do this. Just do this. Okay. Congratulations, you've just moved your whole lymphatic system by about 50%. And so it is really any form of movement, gentle, however gentle. Lymphatic system actually doesn't like to move when you're moving too aggressively. So it's really about just that gentle movement. And even if you're like sitting and doing this, and it's so beautifully energizing too. Whenever I have a long day, and if I don't have time to do like a proper workout, I just go to my rebounder at the back of the house. In summer, it's outside. In winter, I keep it in my yoga room, and I just bounce. And I will do rebounding maybe 5 minutes at the most, because I'm busy, but at the same time, like I don't want to drink any more caffeine, and it's later in the afternoon, and I still got work to do. I want to show up somewhere, and I want to be energetic. Then I just rebound, and just within 5 minutes, it is just it's just be so wonderful just to feel like your day has started on a very fresh note. Tonya is saying I rebound for 10 minutes first thing in the morning. It does help start the drainage because I feel drained in my throat after about 5-6 minutes. Perfect. Yeah, you can do that. Develop your own routine. I don't really feel like I want to rebound in the mornings. I prefer this as a sort of afternoon pick me up, and that really works well. But my morning routine is, like I said, dry brushing and then doing oil pulling while waiting for the shower to get hot. So the last one, the fifth way of moving your lymphatic system, believe it or not, good old boring water, and then just keeping yourself hydrated. The lymphatic system it's like Venice, right? There's no roads, so parts of Venice, not of course not all Venice, but you have those canals. And so the lymphatic system is a form of canals that needs to carry all the junk out, right? And so in order to do that, you need sufficient hydration. It amazes to me that so many of you are actually dehydrated without realizing this. So if you don't know whether you're drinking enough water, because you might say, you know what, I'm actually not really thirsty. And that could be just because your body's just not used to receiving enough water. So, not everybody's thirsty enough for their hydration needs. So one thing you can do is a really simple measurement of you take your weight in pounds. So let's just say you're 130 pounds, and you need to drink a minimum of basically 75 ounces of water, which is, that should be, give me a second. So it's 60, 75. So it's, okay, that's the old method. Okay, I gotta take this back. We need to correct the article, Kamalani. So the old method you might have heard about is you take your weight in pounds and then half of that is in ounces. Okay, so like here is 75 ounces. Actually, but that is not the recommended number now, and especially so if you're living on high elevation, you're exercising, you're living in a dry place like Arizona. The weight should actually be multiplied by 2/3 okay? And then you get their actual amount. So here, there should be probably around closer to 90 ounces of water. That is your amount. And it's amazing how many of you are dehydrated without realizing this. And one of its interesting things is that there's something called hydration hunger, where we feel hungry without realizing it's actually not food hunger, but is water hunger. It's thirst, basically. And then people rehydrate and say, oh my God, I didn't even realize I'm not actually hungry. I was just dehydrated. So make sure you're drinking enough, and not just any water. I do not recommend to do tap water. I don't recommend using Brita filter. Brita does not remove all the problematic constituents that are in our tap water these days. And so it's everything from, we're finding now electrolytes. Yes, electrolytes can definitely be added as well to the water, especially when you're exercising. We have cadmium, lead, arsenic. We have prescription medications in our water. The list goes on. And so I highly recommend for you to get a proper filter. Either depending on where your water is coming from, if it's coming from a very polluted place like Colorado River, you want to have a reverse osmosis kind of a filter. And don't worry about all the nutrients being pulled out of reverse osmosis. Your major source of nutrients is going to come from food and supplements, not from water. So that is like one of those myths. I've been on reverse osmosis water for the past 4 years and not particularly depleted of anything. So that's one thing. And then if your water comes from like a really nice clean source, like for example, New York State, interestingly has water from the lakes. Here in Colorado, we have water from our mountains, but of course the city adds fluoride to it. Chlorine is being treated properly, and so you have issues with those too, especially fluoride. Fluoride used to be given until 1950s for people with hyperthyroidism to slow down the thyroid, and we're actually drinking this. Like if you're drinking tap water, you're drinking fluoride every day. Not great for your thyroid, and the list goes on. So I would then suggest, if your water comes from a really clean source, then you can use something like Berkeley filters, which it doesn't have to be then reverse osmosis. So yeah, so that's what I have for you for today. So remember, just to wrap it up today, what we were talking about, if you're coming in late for this, what we are talking about today is breast Cancer Awareness Month, which I chose to rename it to breast health prevention and breast health month for us, really focusing on prevention. There's many things you can do to maintain really good breast health so you don't ever have to worry about breast cancer. And one of them is obviously changing your diet, getting your estrogen dominance under control. Many of you have been asking about the book. So it's called Overcoming Estrogen Dominance. That's the book that I was referencing earlier. And estrogen dominance is the leading cause of breast issues in women. And do these 5 things that we talked about: dry brushing, massaging your breast, rebounding, doing your dry brushing, and then also doing your hydration, right? A big part of that. And then having, the tea. Forgot about the lymphatic tea, using cleavers and dandelion and nettles and all that really good stuff. So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for everybody for being here today. I hope this is helpful and you're going to start implementing some of the things that you've learned today on this call, and I shall see you soon.